What's up, guys? This is Cory.
This is Allen.
And welcome to CNA Films and Animation. Well, last week I reviewed the first three Oscar movies, the Best Picture Oscar movies. And so today I'm reviewing part 2 of the Best Picture nominated movie reviews.
This week we're reviewing Django Unchained, Les Miserables, Life of Pi.
Yep. So, getting on into our first review, what was that again?
Django Unchained. Django Unchained has received 5 nominations. Those include Best Picture, of course, Best Supporting Actor for Christoph Waltz, Best Original Screenplay, Best Cinematography, and Best Sound Editing. And from my review, I say that it deserves all of it.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah, well, earlier I did a review of this film, and you guys can go check that out. You know, this film I thought was just very good all around. One thing I'm surprised about is that it was not nominated for best makeup or costuming. But other than that, I mean, I feel that all the nominations, maybe with the exception of no Best Director nominations for Quentin Tarantino. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with this film. I really enjoyed it. So you hadn't seen the film before. So what were your thoughts?
From reviewing it, it was I enjoyed my time. Costumes were really good. I like to really praise the set design. It looked in great detail. If I remember right, they built an entire town for that movie. Mm-hmm. You could tell the details. Let's see. A small one's the table. It's made of slots. You can actually see each individual board slot. Most of them, you see just one big wooden surface. And they did not have the technology really to do that. That's a neat sight. There's this one part I thought it was really amazing because I had never seen it in a spaghetti western before. Really, was the whenever Christoph Waltz is pouring himself a draft of beer, and then he takes the foam I don't know what it's called, and he scrapes off the top of the foam, which I thought that was a neat touch. In a lot of movies like this, they wouldn't have done that. It would have just been whoosh, beer. While a very simple touch, it was different enough. It was a fun ride for a spaghetti western. I liked that whenever people were shot, they didn't die instantly from a gut shot or a shot in the arm or something. Mm-hmm. A lot of spaghetti westerns, you see that, I'm dead. This one went, and the guy would scream in pain. One poor guy gets both knees shot out. While a tad overdone in the blood, it worked for the film. I really understand Christoph Waltz, Best Supporting Actor. I really liked his character. Mm-hmm.
One thing I was surprised by was that Leonardo DiCaprio was not nominated for Best Supporting Actor either. And I mean, the reason why I'm surprised by that is because I have never actually seen him play a villain. And I felt that he did a very good job as a villain.
Yes, the only problem I had with Django Unchained maybe been the soundtrack. Some parts just seemed a little out there. Mm-hmm. At 2 or 3 points, there's rap music, which seemed to take away from it is supposed to be a western. I'm not saying put country music in there, but maybe put a more western themed music. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's just my own personal opinion. If you like the soundtrack, by all means, that's good.
So, what would you give this film out of 10?
Out of 10, I'd probably give it a 8.8. It was really good. The attention to detail was amazing. The designs, the characters, really enjoyable. You've already given your review and your rating on your.
Yep, and after re-seeing this movie, I am going to still stick with my original rating, which was an 8.8 as well. So, yeah. What is our next film? Les Miserables. So, Les Miserables was nominated for 8 Oscars, and those include, other than Best Picture, Best Actor for Hugh Jackman, Best Supporting Actress for Anne Hathaway, Best Costume Design, Best Makeup, Best Production Design, Best Sound Mixing, and Best Original Song for Suddenly. And so, Les Miserables follows Hugh Jackman's character. He's a prisoner.
He was put in jail for stealing bread. He was given 5 years in jail for that. He tried to run and was given 12 more years. He was put in jail for 5 years for stealing a loaf of bread, and then he tried to run, and then he was sentenced for 14 more years. He's finally given his freedom, and he has to, for the rest of his life, register as on bond with the government. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't, if he misses one, they'll throw him in jail for the rest of his life. He tries to find work. He can't, since he is he's a con. He's labeled as a con, period. Mm-hmm. He gets taken in by a church where he tries to steal the silver. Then he gets caught, and he tells a story to the police. I don't know what the French term would be for them. And they take him back to the church, saying he tried to tell them that he was given the silver. And the priest says, "Yes, I did give him the silver, but he forgot the candelabras." And he decides from that act of kindness to really turn his life around. Try to be a good man in general and to other people. Mm-hmm. And from there, this is all taking place just before the French Revolution. Mm-hmm. 8 years later, after he decides to turn his life around, he comes across a prostitute played by Anne Hathaway, who is taking care of, who's giving all her money to her child, and the father's not supporting it and everything, and this woman, she's just torn apart basically. She's fired from her factory job. She's just all sorts of bad stuff, and she's basically forced to be a prostitute, and this causes her to basically lose sight in her dream. It breaks her both physically and spiritually. She is no more, really. Mm-hmm. She sells everything she could. Ends up selling her hair, her teeth, her youth. I don't know how that one works, but she's a husk of what she used to be. Mm-hmm. Pretty much. And pretty much after all of this, just being torn apart by everyone, she dies. But before she dies, she basically confides in Hugh Jackman and says, will you take care of... No, excuse me. He says that he will take care of her daughter, raise her and everything. And so from there, he goes to meet with the people who are taking care of her daughter, a couple of innkeepers played by Sacha Baron Cohen and Helen Bonham Carter. And these two are just filthy. I mean, they're the lowest of the low. Mm-hmm. They will steal you blind right out from under you.
Yep.
And they do it all throughout the movie when they start showing up.
Yep. And they're kind of the comic relief, but at the same time, they're just evil people. That's the best way to describe them.
They don't want to give the girl, I cannot pronounce her name.
I don't remember her name.
I'm sorry.
But they don't want to give the Anne Hathaway's daughter away.
But they don't want to keep her either. They just want money for her.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of money. He pays what they say, and they're like, crap, we didn't ask for enough. We want her back so we get more.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And that's pretty much their whole characters. They're grimy, greedy people. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And from there, Hugh Jackman takes the girl, he pays for her basically, and raises her, and she falls in love with a young boy who wants to, take revolt into the from the poor into the rich and everything, to the start of the revolution.
Yes.
And that's pretty much the overall plot of the film. I don't want to get into any spoilers or anything. And what'd you think of it?
It was a good movie. The singing in it is a musical, is good. At times I was a little, I felt a little out of place. It was hard for me to get into at times.
Mm-hmm.
I was, I guess, alienated by the singing at times, which is weird, but I felt like I should have liked the movie more than I did. There were parts that had me irritated, not because they were bad, but it was just the situation, which it's true to form and true to the period. It doesn't make it feel any better, of course, but the situations are pretty accurate from what I've known in history. The acting was good, singing was good by some. The big, where it's supposed to be a lot of people singing, felt a little off to me. That's probably just my opinion on that. Costumes were good, makeup was good. The prostitutes looked like prostitutes. Grimy with the work and the economy. It looked good. It seemed bigger at times than what you would think it would, but it was supposed to be a tight, compelling spot. It was all drawn in. It was nice. What did you think?
Yeah, this movie I do think it is a very good movie. I do think that it is also a very tedious film. This is one of those films that you have to be 100% knowing what you're getting into, because this is a long movie.
It is.
And there's a lot of singing. And I love musicals myself, and I really appreciated a lot of the music in this film. But it is really draining. It's a very dramatic story. It's at times very hard to watch. There's some stuff that I personally felt was hard for me to accept. Some people died, some people did things that was disgraceful. And it's a very emotionally draining film, but at the same time it is very well done on pretty much all accounts, all fronts. I really like this film, but I probably would never watch it again. I have to say that Anne Hathaway was just absolutely fantastic in her performance. Her songs, "Dream I Had a Dream" or something like that, was very moving, and I've heard the song a couple times, and it really does move me. I felt the ending was also very good, and like I said, I like this movie.
Did you have any problems with it?
Well, there were some parts in the film that I did feel like singing wise. There's some songs with Russell Crowe that I felt, it felt a little forced in his singing. His range was not as bad as I thought it was going to be, because from what I've heard that he was about as bad as Pierce Brosnan in Mamma Mia, and that's truly not the case at all. He did an all right job. I thought he was, pretty good as the police officer who's kind of tracking Hugh Jackman throughout all these years. And, I don't have a whole lot, other than just the film was very long and it feels long, too. But, I can't say that I would cut out any specific scene.
The problem I had with the movie was Russell Crowe's and Hugh Jackman's characters' rivalry, the whole... As you said, Russell Crowe's character is the police chief, the head of the guard, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And he is, throughout the movie, pretty much after Hugh Jackman's character. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, I can understand it, but if you go... I can understand it's for the time. All he did was steal a piece of bread, which at that time, stealing food, especially that hard time, was a major offense. He did his time. The fact that all the years he was still after him didn't make much sense to me. Because you think at the time, there's thousands of people stealing bread and other food all that time. Mm-hmm. Being thrown in jail, some escaping, some not, all that. And he's the police chief for years. How would he exactly remember Hugh Jackman at all? I understand it's from the play. I understand from that. It's just...
It was also a book.
Okay, the book, too. Mm-hmm. It's just... I find it hard to believe that he would show such determination for...
one man.
Yes. It went well. The acting for it was good. The rivalry is good. Understand. I like both characters. It just seemed hard to get at. But that's just what I think.
So, out of 10, what would you give this?
That one's tough for me. I know it's a really good movie, and there's a lot of effort on all parts for it. But it just was so hard for me to get into and stay connected for the 2 hours.
2.5.
2.5 hours. I want to give it an 8.5.
Oh wow, okay.
It's a great movie, and I can tell there's a lot there, but I just felt a little alienated at times, and just hard for me to watch. What did you think, Corey?
Well, I agree with a lot of what you say, and I truly felt that this was a great film. It's just, like I've said before, very long and tedious. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to give this film I think I'll give this film an 8.4 out of 10. So on to our last film, which is...
Our final review of this episode is of Life of Pi. Life of Pi received 11 Oscar nominations. Mm-hmm. Include Best Picture, of course, Best Director for Ang Lee, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Production Design, Best Editing, Best Visual Effects, Best Original Score, Best Original Song for Pi's Lullaby, Best Sound Editing, and Best Sound Mixing.
So, Life of Pi is based off a book by Yen Martel, I believe. And it's about this Indian boy. His name is Piscine Patel. And because his name sounds like the word pissing, he changes his name to Pi, as in 3.14. And, he his family owns a zoo. They raise a bunch of animals, and when they find out that his father has to move to Canada because they can no longer support the zoo that they are running in India, they go on to a Japanese cargo ship. Is that it?
Yeah, it's a cargo ship. They have the idea of moving to Canada so Pi's father can find work, and selling the zoo animals to America to support them while he finds work.
Mm-hmm. And after a big storm, the ship crashes, and Pi is the only survivor of the crash, and he is stuck on a lifeboat with a hyena, an orangutan, a zebra, and a Bengal tiger,
whose name is Richard Parker.
Mm-hmm. And so the entire movie is basically just Pi trying to survive in this lifeboat with a Bengal tiger. And, it's just kind of a survival film, similar to Castaway in a way, but not really. What'd you think of the film?
I wasn't sure what to really expect going into this film. It was better than I thought. It was you can see the drive of the kid, his fight to survive, and the struggle and journey. It was an interesting experience, visually pretty cool, for a film that's scenes. While they don't change all that much from scene to scene, it's still it's not distracting from it. You're in the middle of the ocean, but it's not like, well, I'm in the middle of the ocean. Now what happens?
Yeah, things just keep happening to Pi and the tiger. The story constantly is moving, and it never really slows down.
It's an interesting experience. It's as I said, his strive for survival, his adaptability in stressing situations. It was a neat experience. It was a neat ride.
Yeah, I really like this film. I don't love it. I would say that it's a very well-made film. It's a very kind of uplifting in a way, a very spiritual film. And I felt that Ainley did a very good job with the material that he had, because the book I had read in high school, and was the book was just I felt was fantastic. But anyway, what'd you give it out of 10?
Oh, out of 10, I would probably give this one an 8.9. It was visually, it was really cool. Had some neat sets, neat angles from directing, good directing points. It was an enjoyable film. It at the end, it makes you think, really. And it's neat to see a film do that. So a lot of them don't, or if they do try to make you think, it's kind of, I don't want to say sloppy, but it's lackluster. This one is much better at it. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to give this film an 8.7. I really like this film. It is 2 hours long, and it kind of feels like it's a 2 hour long movie, but then again, it does keep the film going. But I did like this film for what it's worth. Well, that pretty much concludes this video. Next week we'll be reviewing Lincoln, Silver Linings Playbook, and Zero Dark 30. Be sure to come back and check that out. if you haven't seen part 1, be sure to check that one out. It's already on our channel. If you like this video, hit the like button. Post a comment on what you thought of these films, and if you like this video, be sure to like, favorite, subscribe. I'm Cory.
I'm Allen.
And we'll see you guys next week
For the next part 3 of Oscar nominations, Best Picture.